Lord Jesus Christ, and welcome to St. Cyril Methodius Orthodox Church in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Father Gregory, the pastor. It's good to spend time with you this morning. Please forgive me. I've got a little bit of an allergy thing here. I looks like I'm allergic to early August. So I wanted to go back to a topic we talked about a little bit last night or yesterday on living as an Orthodox Christian in in a heterodox nation. But before we do that, I'd ask you, if you're watching this on YouTube, that you please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on parish Facebook page, St. Cyril Methodius Ukrainian Orthodox Mission, please give us a like, maybe subscribe to that page. And hey, if you're watching it on my Facebook page, well, we're probably friends already, but thank you. So, and of course, wherever you're watching it, maybe take a moment and just make a comment. It's really helpful for me to see what kind of feedback I'm getting from folks, how people are understanding what I'm saying. So I said yesterday that as Orthodox Christians, we live in a heterodox nation, and that isn't simply a matter of the nation being America being primarily a Protestant culture, Protestant nation, Protestant culture. It's in really the nature of any nation, of any government, that it will be a mix of truth and error, which is really the definition of heterodoxy. This means, and this is especially the case in an American context, is that Orthodox Christians will always be are a marginal faith. And in the future is what belongs to God. We'll see what happens. But for now, at 0.5% of the U.S. adult population, we are very, very small. So we're on the margin. The thing about being on the margin is that it tends to be a position that is very anxiety provoking. And that makes sense. If you're on the margin of society, you don't necessarily have the kinds of protection or the information that someone who is more central has. You can be actually fairly wealthy and still on the margin and still be anxious. In fact, marginal individuals, whatever their economic status, whatever their race, tend as a group, really to be, like I said, anxious and worried. They see things as not good, and that makes sense from their perspective, where they are sort of on the margin. So what do we do? Well, a couple of things. First of all, I think it's important to realize that as Christians, we are always necessarily going to be on the margin of society, even if that society is ostensibly Christian, because we are in the world but not of it. And the fact of the matter is that often the world or a nation or a culture will adopt Christian language, but not as part of the gospel, but as simply as a way of maintaining control or social cohesion. So if we are committed to our lives as Orthodox Christians, it's also a commitment to being a little bit on the margin. So now that we're there, we have to understand that, yeah, sometimes this is really kind of an anxiety-provoking situation, and it may not be something that sits well with maybe our everyday work life, our professional life, where we might actually be a little bit more central to the society or the profession. Now, I must confess, I rather like the margin, not all the time, to be sure, and sometimes I prefer to be a little bit closer to the center. But as a rule, the margin is a reasonably comfortable place for me. But for most people, it really isn't. So I think we need to take into consideration that now, being on the margin of society, we have to give ourselves and other people just a little bit of grace, a little bit of space. We are going to find ourselves being anxious. We're going to find ourselves not understanding. We're going to find ourselves feeling left out, and that's all okay. But we need to not let those feelings overwhelm us, not to let the anxiety or the isolation overwhelm us, and to take steps that are necessary to mitigate or to minimize those feelings. So, make sure you have friends who are not Orthodox Christians, not just simply for the evangelical possibilities, but just to sort of keep yourself healthy and sane. Spend time with people who are not Orthodox Christians. Spend time, in your work, your professional friends. That helps. The other thing maybe to keep in mind is, because we do tend to feel isolated, is to maybe take a pause when we feel like criticizing what we're seeing around us. whether we're criticizing it on the left or the right, something religious or secular, take a pause, take a second, and say, look, I'm kind of on the margin here, so I may just be missing something. Just some suggestions. Well, it is now 8 o'clock, and liturgy starts in about an hour and a half, and I gotta go get ready. It's going to take me a long time this morning because I am just not feeling well. Anyway, so excuse me. Hope to that you get a chance to get to liturgy today. If not here at St. Cyril and Methodius, then your local Orthodox parish. If you're not an Orthodox Christian, maybe find an Orthodox parish and see what it's like there. Of course, if you're in Mad City, you're more than welcome here at 1020 Regent Street. Again, liturgy starts at 9:30. So, okay, well, there you go. Well, I gotta go. God bless everyone, and bye bye.